Hi, I'm Nikki Nicole and welcome to my channel. Today I want to give you an updated tour of my no-dig garden here in Zone 7B, North Carolina. Let's go. Okay guys, this first bed is my bed of okra. I have planted 3 different kinds of okra in this bed. I have green velvet, emerald green velvet, one of it, yes, something like that. But it's absolutely delicious. We planted it last year, and I must say that only half of the pods ended up in the house because they were so good and so tender. I munched on a lot of them out here in the garden. And in the middle, we have heavy hitter. We've never grown the heavy hitter before. And that air conditioner would kick on right now. Anyway, yeah, we've never grown the heavy hitter before, but said why not, we'll try it. Because one thing about the green velvet is that although it is absolutely delicious, it's still tender when it gets even 6-7 inches. It doesn't produce a whole lot. So we decided to try the heavy hitter and see what happens, so that we could put food up, put a lot of it up in the freezer to have over the winter and not just food for fresh eating. And in the front, I guess technically floral rows, although the first row is only 2 starts that made it. Looks like I might have 1 start coming up, but in the front. But that is jambalaya. Homestead Heart raved so much about this okra last year. I was like, I gotta try it. So yeah, that's what we have in the front. And right here, that sad little nasturtium plant, that's from a start. I need to cut some of the dead leaves off. Cut the one that got leggy, with some of the leggy pieces off of that. See if it can come back. It does look better than when I put it in the ground. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I didn't have the heart to just throw it out. So I said I had an empty space there with a start that didn't make it. So I said we try. And on the ends here, well, on all the corners, that's a little zinnia plant. Yeah, it's struggling. I don't know what's going on with the zinnia plants in this bed. They seem to be struggling a lot more than other places I've planted it, but here's what it is. We'll see what happens. Is it? Yes! Yay! I have a seed coming up. I had quite a few starts that didn't make it, so instead of just leaving it blank, I popped a few seeds in the other day, and it looks like the rain that we finally got after a whopping 4 weeks of no rain has helped. Okay, so this bed, what I didn't say about this particular bed, this is new. We just added this bed this spring. Well, actually, I guess a couple of months ago, because I needed it for the okra. Will we add more beds? I don't know. Yes, we will. Why am I lying? Yeah, we will eventually. Not this season, but yeah, we will eventually. So let me be real. But yeah, I needed that for the okra, for the plant, for everything that I wanted to plant, because I am on a journey to put back 1 year's worth of food, and I am going to grow as much of it as I can. So this bed we put in my husband put in last November. This is my garlic and this is my onion. For those of you that saw my last video, I'll get back to the powdery thing right there in a minute. But for those of you that saw my last video, this first batch is supposed to be 3 rows, but it's not quite a tidy 3 rows anymore. That's all from garlic seed garlic. And this patch here is from garlic out of my house. I had some extra garlic, and in January or February, I can't remember now which one, I threw it in the ground. I was like, let's see what happens. It was still cold, still chilly, so I knew it would get some chill hours, but I didn't know if it would be long enough. And in my last video, I know I said how this was looking better, but as time has gone on and they have both grown more, the seed garlic is, yeah, they're both a little ragged now, and I know it's partly because of, one, they'll be ready to harvest soon, but Also, we struggled. We went about 4 weeks with no real rain. In that 4 weeks, I think one day we got a sprinkle of maybe 10 minutes. So I've been hand watering this whole garden for about a month. But yeah, it still looks hands down better than the garlic from the house. But I can say the garlic from the house, I did check underneath the soil and it's bulbing up as well. So we'll see when it actually pull it up. And this is all soft neck garlic. All soft neck garlic. Now what you see here, this little powdery thing, that is eggplant. And it is covered in diatomaceous earth because I was having a problem with flea beetles on these. And I actually didn't think they would make it. I have 3 in here total. I only planted 3 because we don't eat a lot of eggplant. But I am going to use it to make up freezer meals. But I put this out here because I saw some new leaves coming on. So I said, okay, it's not dead. But I didn't want the flea beetles to take out the new leaves. So I put some more diatomaceous earth on here to see if I could save them. And especially with this new growth here. See, it looks like it's working because I don't see any holes in that leaf, that new growth. So yeah, we might end up with a viable plant. We'll see. Okay, so here, this is onion. No, this is not my onion from seed. If you saw the last video, yeah, that was a serious fail. The empty spots that you see in the bed, like here and on back, that is the few onions from seed that I started with the winter sowing. They finally just died out. I came back in, I want to say, sometime in May. It hadn't been that long. In May. And yeah, it was definitely in May because my daughter helped me. It was, yeah, she'd come home for a few days. And I would say around towards the end of May. And we put in these onion starts. Didn't know if it would work. Didn't know if they'd have time to bulb up or anything. I said if all else fails, I have green onion. I can dehydrate the green onion and have that. But yeah, guys, they're growing. And I have some tiny bulbs under the soil. So for the first time ever, I might be growing my own onion. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I love onion and garlic. I use that to season so much, so much. Right here, in this corner, this is an extra Roma tomato that I had. I threw this in the ground, I think last week. I'll give you a little story about these tomatoes in a minute. But yeah, I had some extra ones from the actual Roma tomato bed, and didn't want to get rid of it, so I threw it in the ground and I said, let's see what happens. Okay, let's move on. Okay, everybody, if you can see, we have added a tunnel. We are using cattle panels. If this works, I'll do something, make it a little prettier, something more permanent, I don't know, but we've added the cattle panels. So I have a tunnel, and this is so I can grow my more vining crops. Please excuse that car. That's a story I will share with you one day. That is a thorn in my side, but that's a story for another day. Okay. At the end here, I have a nasturtium that's hanging on for dear life. It's trying to come back. It actually looks better than it did a week ago, so I guess the rain that we finally started getting last weekend has helped. This is another one of my tomato starts that I put in the ground, I think last Friday. This is Thursday, so yeah, about a week ago. I don't actually remember what kind it is. I really don't. I know it's a vining kind, I just don't, or indeterminate. I just don't remember exactly what kind of indeterminate. Next to this are 2 cherry tomatoes. and as they get taller, I will attach them to the cattle panel so that they can grow up and across. Yeah, so let me tell you about these tomatoes. Okay, all of my starts that I started back in February, all of my tomato starts were doing absolutely wonderful. I potted them up once they got larger, and they all died by, I would say, the first week of April. Yeah, I think I had about 40 tomato starts, and I lost 25 of them when they died off and I potted them up. So I was like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to go buy a whole lot of tomato starts. I was like, wait a minute. Last year I put seeds in the ground the end of May and still got tomatoes last year. So April 15th, I started over. Started new seeds in the house, let them come up, let them grow for about 2 weeks in the house, started bringing them outside to harden off for about another 2 weeks. Then I left them outside for the most part, except for the nights that it was getting down into the 30s and 40s. I was hesitant to go ahead and plant them out because it was still getting down to 30s and 40s, and I didn't want to stunt their growth, and some of them just completely die out. So I was babying them, bringing them back and forth in the house along with my pepper plants. I didn't plant these out until, I don't remember the exact date, but it was after May 15th. And the only reason I remember that date is because it was after I got the pepper plants in the day after my daughter graduated from college, and I got the tomato plants in a few days later. So that's the only, I don't know the exact date, but it was a few days after May 15th. Seed started the middle of April, and oh my gosh, I think I see some buds starting. So yeah, I feel like I'm behind everybody else's garden, but then I think about it and I'm like, I'm good, because I am hands down much further than I was last year this time. Last year this time, every single one of my seedlings that I started in the house died. So I either went and bought starts or planted seeds directly out in the ground last year and still got a pretty decent crop from last summer's garden. So don't compare yourself to other people's garden. Do what works for you and where you are, your part of the world or country, and your grow zone. Okay, beside this, I'm trying something new. And yes, you see more diatomaceous earth because I tell you, these beetles, the bane of my existence. But I am growing yard long beans this year. Have no idea how they're going to taste, no idea if I'm going to like them, but I said, why not try them? We love green beans around here. We especially like eating them fresh, and I know they're not exactly the same as far as texture, but I'm going to try it and see. The only part that will give me some hesitation when they start getting long, yeah, they're going to look like little baby snakes hanging from the panels. I'm going to have an issue with that because, you know what, I have a serious fear of snakes. I'm dealing with it. I'm working with it. I'm not letting that fear keep me away from gardening, but hey, it is what it is. Back here, I have 2 more tomatoes. These were extras. Once again, I do not remember what they are. I'll know when they start growing, but I do know they are another indeterminate type. Now, what you see on one side, I have mimicked on the other because I want to distribute the weight as evenly as possible on both sides. And as far as the diatomaceous earth, I wanted to get these on the plants to deter the beetles while they were still small and whatever else was eating them, because I don't want to put this on there. I do not want to put the diatomaceous earth on there once they start flowering, because I don't want to do anything that could harm the pollinators. So yeah, I'm trying to get through this because I think we're about to get some more rain. It rained earlier a little bit, and I've been trying to get this video done all week. I am not complaining because I haven't been able to get it done because of the rain, but I'm not complaining because I haven't gone a month without any real rain. I'll take all the rain we can get. Okay, here the bed that the cattle panel is in, the tall plants you see here, this is what's left of my lettuce from the winter/spring garden, and I need to get in here and cut most of these out. I am going to let at least one plant, maybe two, go to seed, but yeah, get these out so that the tomatoes, once again, Romas, that I have put in right here so that they can get some sun and start taking off. This bed was supposed to be in here. This blank space you see here was supposed to be my attempt to try to start growing celery and leeks. As you can see, there are no celery or leeks in there, so that was an epic fail. I will try again at a later date, but yeah, in its place, when I right there in the bare spot, and when I pull the lettuce out, I think I'm gonna pop in some type of bush bean, since beans tend to grow rather quickly. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put in some type of bush bean, and I can get it canned up. So yeah, more lettuce. See, it's just going to seed. I don't know why I haven't cleaned these out yet, because yeah, they're too bitter to eat, but it is what it is. Here, tucked in all that lettuce, is a tomatilla plant, and here is another right here. I've never grown tomatillas before. I want to try this year because I like green salsa. I've never made my own, so I decided to try and grow it myself, and if I like it, I'm gonna can some up and probably also ferment some as well. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. These are more onion starts that I had, and I knew I'd have blank space. Didn't think I'd have as much blank space as I ended up, but hey, I decided to throw them in the ground. Okay, this bed, which is the next bed over, this is my bed of Roma tomatoes. That's all Romas. I do not remember the actual type of Roma. Once again, these were tomatoes that I planted the middle part of May, sometime after May 15th, a few days after May 15th. And they're doing well. Seed started in the house. Seed started in the house April 15th. So yeah, it may not be as big as a lot of things you're seeing in other people's gardens, but I'm good with it. I'm good because we have such a long growing season. I know I'll have time for this because our volunteer tomatoes usually don't even start coming up till this time anyway. So let me go here so you can see. This is one of my broccoli plants that I am letting go to seed. I don't think I got any, no, I got one tiny little broccoli head, and the rest were sprouts. It just got too hot. I think they were struggling because of what they had gone through over the winter, and if you look at my other video, my first video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But hey, I'll make the most of it and collect these seeds. I'm letting them grow and dry out on the plant as much as possible, because that's a mistake that I made with some green beans last year. I did not let them mature and start to dry out on the vine, and tried to plant them this year, and that was an epic fail. So I'm trying my hand at companion planting as well, and you can see it's tiny, 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 tiny. But yeah, those are marigolds. Started from seed as well. And those tiny little plants that need a little bit of moisture in the middle. So basil also started with seed. Most of everything that you see in this garden will be started from seed, and I gotta say this year was hands down epically better. Just so much better than last year. Everything I started from seed last year for the summer garden died when we planted it out. So yeah, I don't feel bad about losing those tomato starts because I kept so much more alive this year than I did last year. So yeah, I am getting better. And for those of you that don't know, this is only my second year gardening. My husband's been doing it for years. This is the first time that, or this is only the second year that I have actually put in serious effort in our garden. So let's move on to the other tomato bed over here. Okay, this is my last bed of tomatoes. I think I have 12 plants in each tomato bed, so that's 24 plus another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 29 tomato plants in all. Mostly. So 29 tomato plants in all, mostly so that I can get some sauce and diced tomatoes, because I do use sauce and tomatoes, not necessarily for pasta, but for other dishes like pudding with eggplant, or roasting tomatoes as a side dish, or making chicken cacciatore, or something of that nature. Chicken parmesan. So yeah, we go through some tomatoes. Fresh, we do like them fresh in the summer with salad. Tomato sandwich, you cannot forget a tomato sandwich. Okay, so here is one of my collard plants that I have let go to seed. Yeah, it's a lot of seed. A lot of seed. It's a lot of seed. But hey, I want to start trying to save more of my seed. So I said I would let it go and let it dry on the plant as much as possible so that they are hopefully viable seeds. And down in here is what's left of my parsley plant. I have been cutting it as it tried to go to seed, and I seem to have helped and prolonged its life. So yeah, back there is the rosemary plant. And guys, this rosemary and parsley has been in here since last October. Yeah, last October, when we first put the fall stuff in here. So this was covered, and they were tiny over the winter, and then they grew. Now the rosemary is still struggling a little bit. I'll probably pull it up and put it elsewhere because I don't want it to stay in here, but it's still living. And so I'm like, wow, just give it a little bit of care, a little bit of protection. You'll be amazed at what you can do. Now let's move on to the part that I am most excited about. Okay, this area, these beds, totally new. My husband got them built for me back in March. He finished them off back in March, and he got his friend to come down with his tractor. We had some, because we'd had some dirt delivered. I don't remember how. I think it was 10 cubic yards if I remember right. I don't know. Anyway, he ordered them. That's why I don't remember. So yeah, I am excited because last year, if I can find a picture, I'll throw a picture in here. This was all in ground garden. This is where we had sweet potatoes. This is where we had cucumber. This is where we had squash. I think even the tomatoes were back there in the back. And yeah, after last year, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Trying to garden in clay soil, yeah, it's too much. It's too much. Over the years, my husband has added compost until he has tilled it in, and it's still just hard to work with, especially if you're trying to grow something like sweet potatoes. So I told him, I was like, yeah, we gotta do something different next year. And it was like, okay. And when he agreed to it, I'm like, hey, can we make it a little pretty? So yeah, we have this little funky little design. It is not even on both sides because I wanted to sort of align the opening with the beds that were already in there, but I also needed the garden to be a certain amount of space. But it still works. It's still decent looking. And yeah, let's go take a look. We're not finished. We still have to get in there and dig out some of that dirt. It was just too hard to work with earlier because it was so dry. But here soon we should be able to get in there and dig that out and put some mulch down on the bedding so that we don't have to deal with mud or I don't have to deal with mud when I'm walking in there. So let's take a look at everything. So all of this right here, this bed, these are my potatoes. In the front I have russet. Those are the tallest. In the middle right here, well, the front I should say, right behind this, the next tallest plants are gold potatoes, which is what we eat the most of. But what has the most in here are red potatoes. Some of these are seed potatoes. Some of these are potatoes from the house that sprouted and I threw them in there. But yeah, never successfully grown tomatoes before. Never really tried. Last year I sort of experimented with them in the clay, and yeah, they were so tiny. I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to take the time to dig those up. And looking here, I do see some plants that are struggling, and I might need to dig down in there and see what's going on. And yeah, there's something coming up right there. I don't know what that is. It looks like maybe some kind of squash, but yeah, I can't let you go. Sorry. Okay. Here is some lacinato kale, and it is also sprinkled with diatomaceous earth because I was having an issue with cabbage worms. I haven't seen them on there since I treated it with BT, but I have seen the cabbage moths flying around still and didn't want to chance them coming back and laying more eggs. I still haven't seen an issue, so it looks like it may be under control. This is catnip that came out of the last bed that was down there with the parsley and rosemary. It got really leggy. Didn't know if I'd be able to save it. I did cut some pieces off of it to replant to try to at least save some of it. But yeah, it looks like it's finally taking root and taking back off. It's hard to tell, but all of this, you see I'm sweating. All of this was like sad. It was worse than this. So yeah. And although I have a cat, I did not plant it for the cat. I planted it for the mosquitoes because we have mosquitoes really bad. Really bad. And there's another marigold right there. Looks like I need to move the catnip back a little bit. It can shade the lacinato kale and give the marigold a little sun. Okay, these are all my little peppers. Hot peppers. I have hot peppers on this side. I have paprika. I have pepperoncini. These two rows are paprika. This is pepperoncini. My husband loves it, so well, pickled anyway, so I planted those for him. This next row are jalapeno, which I planted for my daughter. I really don't care for hot peppers, but hey, we got to make everybody happy. And on this end are cayenne peppers. And the cayenne and paprika are solely so I can have something to put up in my spice cabinet. I want to start saving more spices that I have grown myself. Okay, let's move on to the entrance. Okay, right here, this is some type of winter squash. No, I didn't mark it. No, I didn't label it. I meant to. I didn't have my labels out here. I was supposed to come out the following day because it was getting dark on me and mark these, and I did not. And so now I'm just gonna have to wait until they start growing. I know it's either butternut squash or acorn squash. It's one of the two. I do know that much. So I'll just have to wait until they start growing. But as you can see, I have here and on this side as well for them to grow up the panel and over. And as you can see, we kept it simple. We just took the cattle panels and put them here, and we drove the T-posts in the ground, and the T-posts are there to take some of the pressure off the cattle panels to keep them in place. And we just have hooks. I forgot what these hooks, there's a certain name for these hooks, but these hooks are just here to hold the panel to the T-post. And yes, I did help get these in. My husband did not do this by himself. So let's go on in. Oh, and you see diatomaceous earth again because I saw something on them. I don't remember what now, but I do remember I saw something on them the other day and I was like, oh, I need to get this on there before they take me out. So yeah, we're gonna get some rain soon and all this is gonna be washed away. And oh my gosh. Okay, Nikki, get back to what you're talking about. Yeah, so this will get washed away here soon. Okay, we're gonna come on in. Excuse all of this, but like I said, once again, this is all gonna get pulled up and we're gonna get mulch put down, and so it'll make it easier to walk on. Over here, this is my row of banana peppers. I like, well, sweet banana peppers. That's my favorite type of pepper. So everybody has their favorite type of pepper in here, and all of these are bell pepper. I have green bell pepper and red. I don't know why I didn't do any other colors. I don't know if it's because I forgot to get the seed or what, but hey, this is for dicing and freezing peppers to put in the freezer, and to make stuffed bell peppers to put in the freezer to have my own convenience meals. And some more lacinato kale, another and sweet potato starts that I got in the ground this past Sunday. Okay, for everybody that saw the last video, I kept saying I was going to do a little experiment. This is my experiment. I don't know if you all remember the cabbage and how tiny it still was, but yeah, I didn't want to pull it and lose it. So I said, let me move it to this bed. I knew I was putting sweet potatoes in this bed, so it'd be a while before I used it. So I said, let me move it over here and see what happens. Yeah, we see what's happened. And as you can see, it's trying to come to a head. I know it looks leggy, but that is where all the old growth was when it was in the hoop tunnel. When I transplanted it, apparently it could not both take root and hold on to those leaves. So as they started dying off, I would just tear them, and I can see some of the leaves now that are on the ground I need to get. But yeah, these poor cabbages have been through it. They were originally planted last November, December, and got replanted again in April. But they are finally growing, and if I see where it looks like they are choking out the sweet potato vines, I'll go ahead and pull them. I'll probably have tiny heads of cabbage by then, but that's fine. I can just take and cut the leaves up, cook the leaves, or make some sauerkraut. It's all good. But yeah, as far as the sweet potatoes, in the front are purple sweet potatoes. I don't remember the exact name. They are purple through and through, purple skin and purple flesh. And in the back, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of these sweet potatoes. I did order these slips. The purple sweet potato slips I started myself. The orange flesh sweet potato slips I ordered. I do not remember the name. I'll try to find the name and pop it up on the screen. They're not a pure potato. I mean, they were developed, but they were developed here in North Carolina, at actually North Carolina State, which is where our agricultural school is located, North Carolina State in Raleigh. So it was developed there, and it is actually supposed to be the potato that commercial growers prefer because they give more consistent size potatoes. So that is supposed to be typically what you see more of in the store. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, and back here I have another calendula plant growing, and I have some beets. And yes, the beets are sparse. That is because I am going to come in here eventually and put in my Brussels sprouts. It's not time for that yet, but yeah, this is the Brussels sprouts will go in between. Now back here, yeah, this is my epic fail at trying to grow sweet peas. Guys, they were looking absolutely beautiful a couple of weeks ago. Now it's like once the 90-degree heat hit and we were not getting rain, they were like, I'm done. So I didn't get out here in time to cut the tips off where we could use the tips in salad. So the ones that have pods on them, I'm going to let them stay and see if I can save the seed and come back in here and throw out some more black-eyed peas. And here is more winter squash. Once again, this is either butternut or acorn. Not sure which. Oh my gosh, I have a nasturtium flower. I'm surprised because the plant is struggling so bad. Look at it. How beautiful. I've never grown nasturtium before. This is my first time. This is my first time growing a lot of this. Yeah, I'm excited. No plan for here. Don't know how I got there. Okay, on this side, this is the other row. Now, I know you can see that this is on the outside of the panel. That's because when we put this back panel up right here, we put it over too far. And so when we came to put this in, came to put the hoop in, we couldn't get it over far enough, so I couldn't plant my squash on the inside of the hoop. And you want to plant them on the inside because if they're on the inside, of course, let me turn this way from the sun. Okay, if they're on this side, you can come in and the fruit is hanging on this side, and you can tie it up if it gets too heavy or reach it or what. But if it's growing on this side, and once it grows up, if the fruit doesn't fall through, you're not going to be able to reach it. So just as a fail-safe for all of my tunnels, just plant on the inside. And back here, this is all black-eyed peas. Let me tell you. Now these are from seed, I will say, but last year when I planted these, I pulled some dried black-eyed peas out of my kitchen and planted them to see what happens. They grew. It was, absolutely delicious. And so let me tell you, if you have some dried black-eyed peas or you don't, go to the store, get you some. You don't have to have seed. They will grow. I know you see the diatomaceous earth on these too. That's because some type of beetle, I never figured out what kind. I need to get it's a certain book I need to order. Can't think of the name right now, but yeah, I need to get it. It identifies the different types of pests. But I saw it on here and then it started decimating the starts. Looks like it slowed down. I did spray it with some neem and soap. I actually used Dr. Bronner's, the peppermint scent, and it looked like it helped. But then I did see some more holes still a little bit, so I said, you know what, let me just come back with this diatomaceous earth while I'm out here and see if that helps a little more. And I'm doing the same thing over here with the beets that I'm doing on the other side. And I'll come back in with the Brussels sprouts later. Okay, you all, this is my middle bed. Where you see the little bamboo teepees, that's where my pole beans are going to go. I think I'm growing, it's a hybrid bean. I think it's called Kentucky Blue. And it's a cross between Kentucky Wonder and Blue Lake. And I'm growing those because they are not stringy. I grew them last year. I actually threw the seeds in the ground August 1st. And they grew quickly, and I harvested off of those plants all the way through, I think, November. Yeah, so in my area we have a long growing season. And down below, but the reason I said oh my god was because I looked over here and I saw red berries. I have little tiny strawberries. This has happened like in the past 2 days. Okay, was I out here yesterday? I thought I was. I come out here every day. I didn't see this redness. Maybe I didn't pay attention. But that's where the oh my god came from a little earlier. Okay, why the strawberries with the green beans? Because I didn't get my strawberry beds built. I didn't want to throw them in the ground because of the runners. So I looked it up. They will not hurt the green beans. The green beans will not hurt them. So I was like, hey, why not? I have the space. Why not use it? So here they are. We've tried to grow strawberries before, but the slugs and squirrels and birds got to them before we did. So I said oh my god, because I had totally planned to put netting on them before this happened. And yeah, looks like somebody has taken us out already with that plant. Yeah, I didn't pull the flowers because I wanted to see what would happen. At this point I'm like, I might just go ahead and let the birds have them. But I know, I just tasted one, guys. I gotta tell you, that's a delicious berry. That's a delicious berry. It really is. So, before I end this, I must address all of this craziness that's going on back here. Guys, to me, that is not craziness. That's beautiful to me. Because I can actually get more sunlight on my garden now, especially my winter garden. In my last video, I told you all about the trees that were back here and how it was doing a lot of shading on the winter garden and how I was going to have to move it this year. Well, the people that own the property behind us, they were having the trees thinned out. And my husband talked to the one that actually, the man that handles it, is in charge of it. And he so graciously agreed to cut all this back. I can't say graciously. Part of it was liability reasons because they had gotten so tall. Yeah, there was a possibility that they could come down on the house. But he came down and I spoke with him as well. And yeah, so he nice people, and they took it all out. I know you're wondering, why did they pull all that off? Well, we also, if all of that was completely clear, guys, we have clay soil here, thick clay soil. If all of that was gone, the runoff when we get a hard rain, because we do get flooding from time to time, especially here in hurricane season, we'd have a mess. We'd have a mess with the runoff because it's hard to tell, but there's a slight hill right there. The runoff would be crazy. So it's there to stay there and break down a little bit. There's a little cleanup that needs to be done and some shredding and all that, but I'm just happy that it's down. I'm happy that it's down. And maybe this pear tree that was here when we moved in, that we've never been able to get pears off of, maybe now that it can get some sun, and once I get an actual companion pear tree planted beside it, yeah, we might actually get some pears in a couple of years. So it's never, well, it does produce fruit, but it never gets big enough to actually harvest. It is still flowering. I looked at it this spring, and only part of it flowered, and I'm pretty sure it's because it wasn't getting sun, because it was just surrounded by pine trees. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, this is part 1 of my Zone 7B garden update. I am excited. I am going more than this, but I know this video is getting a little long, so I will do part 2 to show you what else we have going on around here. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen and want to see more, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and so you'll never miss another video, so that you can stay tuned to see how I transform my lawn into a full-blown garden. Yeah. Okay guys, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.